Hey guys, our gals, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to discuss this book. Oh no, A Happy Pocketful of Money by David Cameron. I'm about to butcher his last name, Gikandi, Gikandi. The reason I want to share this book with you guys is because it really resonated with me, and there are books that I've been reading in the last few years that have been life-changing for me. All right. I've had epiphanies with them, right? At this point in my life, I wish I had been open to reading this book 10 or 20 years ago in my 20s. It would have really helped with this mindset part as an entrepreneur. So, again, the book is called A Happy Pocket Full of Money, and someone really awesome recommended it to me. And before I really delve into a few points here, let me just say that when I started reading the book, and I hope I don't offend anyone out there. But when I started reading the book, it gets into what I've in the past considered frou-frou stuff. But this book is really actually like in the first chapter, or is it the second chapter? Yeah, chapter number 2. Hold on one second. Sorry about this. In chapter number 2, it talks about quantum physics. And if I'm being honest, when I started this book a year ago, the first time I picked it up, I got it. And when I started reading it, it didn't quite click. And frankly, I found chapter 2 on quantum physics to just like, no matter how hard I was trying, it just went over my head. It was just a lot for me to digest at that time. I recently picked this up after I finished The Alchemist. Maybe I should discuss that in a separate video. And that sparked something in me again. It brought me out of this funk. So then I picked up this book where I had left it off, like after chapter 3. I think I just kind of left it. It's funny how I call it the frou-frou stuff, but really it's mindset stuff. And for most of my life, I've sort of, not most of my life, like, I don't know how to put it, but I haven't practiced positive mindset in the last 5 or 7 years, and it has caught up to me on and off. Anxiety can be triggered easily, especially if you're an entrepreneur. But, anyways, I am just rambling on now, and I want to share just a few of the things. And please keep it in mind that no matter how helpful I found it, there's no way I can break down everything that gave me an epiphany in here, right? Or all of it combined together that gave me this light bulb moment, right? I do think it's a really good book and it's been super helpful. Let me share a few of the nuggets with you. And there's just so much in here. And it's really funny. This is the first book that I've read in 2 years where I didn't use a highlighter. And so for this video, I'm having to just kind of randomly pick a few excerpts that I enjoyed, a few of the main points that I've enjoyed. But there's just a lot of really good, great stuff in here that I'm going to need to reread and highlight and take notes on. Anyways, let's get started. This is a small paragraph I'm going to read. Your life is your images, your imaginings expressed into physical things. More accurately, it is the manifestation into the physical world of the visions, good and bad, that you believe in most, consciously and unconsciously. Chapter was really helpful because it talks about how much your mindset plays into things. What you put out into the universe, your thoughts expressed, is what's creating these circumstances around you. It's not the other way around. We think, oh my God, I am suffering, or I'm not super rich, or I'm poor, right? And you're putting these, it's hard for me to put everything I've learned into like 3 phrases, but it's these thoughts that you're having what has created this. And the good news is, if you practice more positivity, more certainty, you can create your new reality. Your reality, if you want to be rich and you say, I am rich, and you take actions that can lead you to be rich, right? Instead of I am broke, these terrible things are happening to me. It's just that your images, your thoughts, everything around you, you have created, whether you like to admit that or not. But also the good news is you can change that by changing this, by creating wealth consciousness in your mind. That's why some people are happy. Happiness is created in here. So they're happy and they make everyone around them happy. It's not that things are happening around them to make them happy necessarily. It's in here. So if you create wealth consciousness in here, it's going to show up in your life all around you because that's what you created in here. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Let me move on to the next. Your subconscious mind only takes in the affirmative and not the negative. If you visualize and set the goal, I am not poor anymore, it will only take in poor. Instead, change that to something like, I am rich, wealthy, and abundant. The subconscious mind does not internalize not. It does not internalize negations. It only internalizes, I am something, not I am not something. The first time I heard this, I was like, yeah, okay. I'm just going to keep it real, right? But reading this, going over this, it totally clicks. The first time someone said this to me, right? It really just didn't make sense to me. Okay. But now reading this, when I read this over, I'm becoming more thoughtful about my thoughts. I know it sounds funny, thoughtful about thoughts, but really, you have to be careful what you think because that is what you become, because that is what you have projected in your mind and that is what's around you. So saying, I am not poor anymore, it's really important to flip your language around that. Say something like, I am, and then that positive thing. I am rich, wealthy, and abundant in this case. There's a whole chapter dedicated to this, and I've only read 2 paragraphs to you out of this. It really has quieted my mind down with anxiety. And so make sure that you do pick up the book and go through it. Let's see what the next one is. Be specific and do not keep changing your mind. All thoughts count and produce results. Changing your mind all the time confuses the universe. Imagine walking into a travel agency and saying, I wish to travel. Then you look at the agent blankly. He or she is ready to make your reservation, but cannot until you say where you wish to go. Imagine you now say, well, I'd like to go to Moscow and Timbuktu at the same time. Again, the agent cannot fulfill that request. Now imagine you say, okay, then book me to Moscow. No, wait, Timbuktu. No, wait, Moscow. No, wait, I'm not sure I can afford it. No, I can. No, maybe I don't wish to go there or travel at all. This is how many people think all day. And the universe is confused by their thoughts, just like the travel agent. This indecision produces confused results for them. So this little bit here just put things into perspective for me. Like it just clicked really well in my brain for, I learned really well with examples. It's kind of like, I know I can be really wishy-washy, right? So I can be uncertain about things. But this totally makes sense. If you're uncertain, then the universe is going to give you really confusing results as well. So be specific and do not keep changing your mind with your goals, with what you want to be, everything, with everything. But anyways, this was like another light bulb moment where with this example, I was like, oh, that totally makes sense. So this is in the chapter 6, goals, the roadmap to end in wealth. Let's see what I have for you guys here. Take goals seriously. A 20-year study involving students in a certain Ivy League university in the US traced the lives of one graduating class. 3% of that class had their own written goals at the start of the study. By the end of the 20 years, that 3% was worth more financially than the other 97% combined. They also reported more satisfaction and joy in their lives. Again, this blew my mind because I do really well with what I can connect with scientifically. This is a study, and the author talks about being extremely specific with setting goals that you have for your life. If it's like, I want a new car, well, what type of car do you want? It makes you really, really, really narrow down what you want, what your goals are. But this really puts it into perspective. And it's a 20-year study where 3% of the class did this. And they were worth more financially than the other 97%. Like, that to me is mind blowing. They did this thing and it turned out to be very true. A really, really awesome nugget. You might have heard this one before, but it just reinforces these thoughts around goals and planning. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Plan and set goals and visualize them. Master this skill. And it goes into a lot more depth. This is under the chapter of cause and effect, the prime law of the universe. Things get better when you get better. They get worse when you get worse. The world is all within you. You are the cause of everything that happens in your life, whether you're conscious of it or not. This is truly powerful. And there were times in my life that I didn't want to believe in it because I was upset about things or whatever, right? Like we all go through that. But this is really important to understand, especially for entrepreneurs, especially for people who don't give weight to keeping their minds healthy or have depression or anxiety, because it's really important to keep your mind in a healthy space, in a positive space. Because again, things get better when you get better, and they get worse when you get worse. So if you're not feeling healthy up here, your business is going to suffer. Your family might suffer because you're suffering and not making the healthiest decisions. When things are good in here, you're in a space to create, you're in a space to share, you're in a space to be helpful, you're in a space to be there for your family, you're in a space to be there for your customers, to make the best decisions for your business. So it totally makes sense. Here's another good one. Imagine you're on an island with just one other person working together for a whole year. Imagine that you are very friendly with each other and that you talk and share the books and food your relatives send you. What would happen if you slapped that person? That person will either slap you back, find another way to harm you, stop sharing books and food with you, or just have a less friendly heart towards you, even if he or she did not retaliate otherwise. Even if the other person does not seek revenge, some tension will build that will cut short the freedom and companionship you had. The simple experiment shows you that it is impossible for you to harm someone without getting it back in some form or another. You harm someone and eventually you will hurt yourself. And if you can observe this to be so, why would you wish to harm someone? More appropriately, since when you harm someone else, you harm yourself, why would you wish to harm yourself? And honestly, I feel like this is something that we as a society need more of. We need this oneness. We need to understand that when we do harm to someone else, the universe has a way of sending it back to us. I've always believed in that, but this book really drilled it in. I believe in karma. Put good out there, and eventually it's going to make its way back to you. You do harm to others, it's going to come back and haunt you in some way, shape, or form. So this was cool to read. This is a really good chapter on wanting, the difference between wanting and desiring, and why one is harmful over the other one. So the chapter is called Want Not. Desire, but never ever want. So here's a small excerpt. Never want anything. Wanting makes the universe give you the conditions that create a perpetual state of wanting. Have passion, have desire, have intentions, but want not. So again, this works on how you think about things. It's kind of like, the more I read it, from my understanding, when you say, oh, I want that, it's almost like putting into the universe, it's something that's so far out there that you can't have. It's going to put you in this perpetual state of wanting and never achieving that goal, if that makes sense. But when you desire something, right, that's different. Eliminate the word want from your language and the state of wanting from your thinking and being. Replace it with desire and desiring, like and liking. Wanting creates conditions of perpetual wanting. You never get what you want. And there's a whole chapter dedicated to this, and it's a really good one. I have to say, the further I got in the book, the more everything just kind of clicked so amazingly well together. And for that reason, I'm just going to pick it up once or twice a week and just reread the whole book. This is an awesome one. What you wish to have, cause another to have. To have wealth and abundance, cause another to have it. How do you cause others to have wealth? Teach these lessons to your friends who are interested in wealth. Show them this book and others like it. Form study groups or mastermind circles with them. Where two or more are gathered, the whole is more than the sum of its parts. Look, this makes total sense to me, because I learned some really good, healthy stuff in here that has, it's just really helped my brain, my mental health as well, how I'm thinking about things. I chose to make this video for you so you can benefit from this. So it's one of those things where this author is correct. Like, if you want the things you want, right, and the things you're learning in the pursuit of that, it can totally benefit other people. Okay. So if you help them get that, it's going to come back to you. Whatever you've learned, share it with others. It will come back to you freely. Okay, last one, because I don't want to bore you guys or anything like that. But when I'm into a book, I'm really into it. So I really want to share this. Okay, it is in your best interests to do your part to ensure that people all over the earth have wealth, consciousness, and joy. Many thinkers and scientists are beginning to show that an individual's thoughts affect the whole world's thoughts. It reminds me of the butterfly effect, right? An individual is responsible for what happens in the world and to everyone in it. The ancient Greeks had a similar concept. Gaia, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's Gaia. This philosophy has been espoused by many thinkers all over the world, from Plato in ancient Greece to Buddha in the Near and Far East. Modern scientists and thinkers in various fields of science are also starting to study and show that we are all connected. These connections are being found in various forms and in various fields of science by researchers, including, and it has a bunch of researchers and their books listed in here. If you wish to be wealthy, you can do so on your own, but you can do so a lot more easily and to a much larger extent if you help the world attain wealth consciousness. Because of this book, because of what it's teaching, because of how helpful it has been, I decided to make a video for you and help you guys get the benefits I've received as an entrepreneur. I really am appreciative of this book. If you want the book, I will put a link to it in the description. But if you have a question, if you've read the book, if you're in the middle of reading a book, leave a comment below. That's all I have for you. Until next time.